Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is I, Iron Sheik 84, and up here we got Lee Brown. Let me just there you go, I got it. And then of course, right over here we got Slim Numbers. Good morning, gentlemen. How are y'all doing?
I'm doing
Morning.
pretty well. Slim, how are you doing? I cut you off right away.
Oh no, I was just saying good morning. That's it. Good morning. I'm doing great.
Actually,
Yay!
I gotta be honest with y'all. I actually was in a complete panic this morning until about maybe 10 minutes ago.
Uh-oh. What happened?
Well, you know how we had the faction boss this weekend?
Is it Faction Boss? I thought it was.
Well, this past weekend we had boss
Oh, okay. I
battle.
was like, I thought it was Feud, but yeah, this past weekend.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. Well, you know how for level 14 you had to get a win with Armor King,
Yeah.
and how it was 1x. Well, my finger slipped and I actually hit his finisher, and yeah, like it didn't finish until about 10 minutes ago. So I was like freaking out. I was like, oh crap, I'm not gonna get time to get to the podcast.
Gotcha.
It's a
It's
joke, like it takes
Wednesday,
forever
Sheik.
for that.
His finisher doesn't take 3 days to finish. What are you talking about?
I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah. It's
are you
a
sure it doesn't take that long?
lame joke about how long it takes at 1x to finish.
Some are saying that Rey Mysterio is still up in the air, spinning.
Just waiting for the come back down to earth. I gotcha.
That was the boss, right? It was Rey Mysterio. I don't even
Yes, it was.
remember.
Right. Oh gosh. Hey, thank you for the sub. I appreciate that so much. Um, so it depends on where you're finishing at. That's funny. Yeah. So what was your? I mean, we didn't have this on the list, but what was your boss battle experience this time around? This was a strange boss in terms of what the big buffs were. Like, I honestly never thought Rabbit and Zombie Seamus would be the best characters in the game for a specific mode, but here we were. Here we found ourselves.
Yeah.
I
Uh,
knew Rabbit was going to be. Rabbit is. I'm going to keep saying this until people believe me. Rabbit is low key an extremely powerful card in the game, but you have to have time. In most game modes, you don't get enough time.
Right.
Boss battle, you got all the time in the world. He is
Gotcha.
yeah.
super strong. I think Rabbit, 3 turns through boss, could probably carry if he had no boss buffs.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And
Well,
I mean that sincerely.
yeah. Well, here's the thing too. I mean, I know I've always talked about like sometimes people like it's like they want to look at the numbers, fam. It's like he does a good deal of damage. Even it's even with like the metals and stuff. Like people are like, oh, he only does 40 million damage. That's still pretty. Like like well, I mean, I haven't buffed up to where like I do more, but still like he does a very, very, very good amount of damage. It's like, okay, maybe, I might need an extra turn now, but I still like using him.
Yep.
Yeah, I think he's great. You pair him with a Hulkamaniac plate, which is the other, like, I'm really coming around on the Hulkamaniac plate. It's becoming one of my favorites. I know it's, still kind of niche and you have to get various use cases to actually make it work, but man, it's pretty powerful, especially for things like Titan and Boss Battle.
Hmm. See, that's where a lot has changed for me is just the whole Titan thinking. Like even people are talking about Roman Reigns a lot this week for obvious reasons. We'll get into in a moment. And people were asking me like, "What plates do you put on him?" I'm like, "I don't have any on him." And then I stepped back and thought, and I was like, "Well, for boss battle, I really should have a break purple get blue on him now, but." Or not boss battle Titan, but I hadn't even made that shift in my brain yet to go, oh yeah, he does need this, doesn't he? Not because he needs it in any other mode. Like no other mode have I ever had to think about Roman. It's just like, yep, he just won. There, I'm like, oh yeah, I do need things on him now. So what's up, Zandal? Hey Zandal, can you hear Slim and Chic this time?
Yeah, good morning, Zandal.
Oh, thanks for sticking on that stream. That was a mess, but oh, so boss battle seemed to go pretty well with those guys. I think a lot more people had Rabbit, and a lot of people had Zombie Seamus. A few people, like myself on at least in our faction, got a lot of hype for Zombie Seamus last month, and so was even hitting harder because of that. So yeah, I thought it went surprisingly well, because when I first saw the buffs that were on that boss battle, I was going oof, oof, and then thankfully Slim came through with a boss battle video and saved the day.
Yeah. Well, for us, like, well, I mean, we, as always, like with our faction, like we collaborated, we came up with ideas. We're like, oh, hey, Dawnbreaker with his bleed setup, would do a decent amount of damage. Zombie Seamus, etc. Uh, Turned out Haku was kind of like the carrier.
Oh, okay.
Uh, you know, but yeah, I mean, it's like basically we didn't have any troubles. Like not surprisingly, like I'm sure we would have figured it out regardless. But we threw out our suggestions, tried them out, and we're like, okay, Haku's going to be like the guy, but we figured it out for a bunch of other people as well.
Right. Right. Well, let's just keep on the train of things that I didn't put in the show notes and keep going from there. Zandel said, I hope Feud is interesting. So if you did not know, this hasn't been announced officially as far as I've seen, although we did know, like CC's knew about a week before. Uh-oh, what?
Lee, let's keep this one purely speculative.
Purely speculative? Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
well,
I'll send you why here in just a second.
Okay. Well, Google Play dropped something on us here.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I'm good to talk about that. Is that Slim? Are you sending me the why?
Sorry, I absolutely am. I don't know what it means, but I looked at the color of the name. I was like, "Woo, maybe we yeehaw a little bit."
Maybe we yeehaw. Uh-oh. Okay. Mm-hmm. I can't see that over there.
Yeah. Well, right. I mean,
you talk.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I'm out of the loop on this. So I can say, like, I did see the updates. I mean, I have an iPhone, and then I do have an Android tablet, so I did see that there is, there's the note about, like, a new feud system coming out, like the 1v1, and then also, I did see that, even when you go to hype, it does say, like, it's like new hype tiers coming soon. So, I mean, I may not know the specifics of it, obviously, since I'm not in the inner circle, but I do know, I do know that something is going to happen.
So yeah, I mean, it was posted in the Google Play Store for Android that 1v1 feuds were leaked. Basically, like they accidentally leaked it themselves. So we know that that is a possibility that's out there. But that's about all the details that I think anybody really has.
Right, and I wasn't going to share anything deeper than just the fact that, yes, 1v1 feuds were listed in the Android Play. It's now on Apple as well. Apple updates later. Google updates like by device, whereas Apple updates across the ecosystem at one time. So it's on both of them. You can clearly see it says 1v1 feud. So that's one of those things where I'm like, ooh, I'm interested to see what people think and what it means. I mean, because the whole thing with feud, like think about this, with feud, we went from, what was it originally, like 8 at a time? Like you had 5. You had 5 that you partnered with, and then you went to 2, and 2 has been, I mean, that's been feud for the entirety of my knowledge of this game. I never played a 5v5 feud. Now we're experiencing, I don't think anyway, again, as Slim said, this is all speculation. It's not inside information on there. All we knew was that it was going to exist a little before it leaked. But what do we think about going from 5 to 2 to 1? And is this the future of feud? Is it a specific feud mode that maybe replaces one of the 2 feuding experiences? I don't know. That's kind of more what I was wanting to kind of speculate about.
So I can tell you. So having like I said, having played this game for the entirety of it being out, um,
The OG.
I can tell you that I was god awful. Uh, for this reason. The like when I originally started the game, obviously I didn't have like the depth of knowledge and stuff that I have now. I just joined like a random faction, and like they never, never communicated, never did heals, never did feud to the best of my knowledge. And then like as I was just playing on my own, I was racking up my my roster and everything. And then at that time, I was looking at like requirements, and I was like, okay, well, I'm not good for execution. I know I'm not going to get on Grim Creepers, but I was, at that time, like a lot of the top 100s were like, hey, you have to have a 100K roster, and I had a 100K
100K.
roster at that. Yeah, 100K. That was the requirement for top 100. And then I
Wow.
thought about it, and and I was like, okay, like I said, I know I can't do Grim Creepers, I can't do this, and like my knowledge is limited, based on just what I've been able to ascertain on my own, not having a good faction or people to bounce ideas and things off of. But I was like, I'm sure the 90 to 100 will take me, and so that's when I joined my original like faction that I was in for the longest time, Cobra Kai. Uh, that's where I learned about feuding, things like that. But what happened was as I joined, like some of the bigger like whales kind of joined like Black Ops and some of the other more established people that have been top 20, top 30 for the longest time. And then it like little by little, we had less people feuding. We kept falling in the numbers, and oh man, like it sucked because there were times where like I was just sitting and I couldn't find anybody to feud with. And
Right.
then Lee, this might be before your time, but basically what happened was is that there was some sort of competition and Grim Creepers won. And then Grim Creepers got to well I obviously like I was not I've never been in Grim Creepers, I don't know. But what happened was is they got to make up the rules of the feud. That at least that's what Scopely said. And
Hmm.
then Grim Creepers said we want 2v2. And then whatever happened, that's where the change came, and then it's been
Weird.
2v2 since then.
Oh man, I had no idea about that story. I did not know that there was a fact. I mean, I get like we joke about Woken, TNM, various, whatever, but like I didn't realize there was a faction that made such a powerful change in the game because that seems huge. I never got to play 5v5. I either wasn't what's up SM Gordo. I wasn't either wasn't playing the game at that point, or like you, I just kind of hopped into a faction. I'm a Doctor Who fan. If you couldn't tell right there, and so I literally found a faction called Bad
Yeah.
Wolf and just hopped into Bad Wolf. So I was in a British faction for the first few whatever months of my experience before I got into another one here. So yeah, that is a surprise. Slim, did you ever play 5v5? That's a whole different world for me that I didn't know existed until somebody told me about it.
If I was playing 5v5, it was during the time where I thought Striker Baron Corbin was good.
It would have been before that. But wow.
So,
Strike.
uh,
Wow.
yeah. So, I have almost no functional memory of 5v5 feuds. I'm not even sure if I was playing at the time. Yeah, yeah. So no, I have no functional experience with 5v5.
Gotcha. So I guess the piece for
Yeah.
me
Well,
that
I can tell you.
oh go ahead, Sheik.
Sorry, I was going to say. I think I even remember just to throw this out there for you. So, do you want a? Okay, I could be wrong on this because I don't remember. I mean, it's, we're talking about something from almost 9 years ago now. Do you know?
Jeez.
Do you want to know what the first place prize was for the first feud that I can remember?
Sure.
It was a 3-star gold. It was either Dolph Ziggler, or Showboat Braun. That was the first place prize for getting first in the faction feud.
Wow.
That's man. This game has this.
It was like, and you also got like a 15% boost for all modes and some other stuff. But yeah, that was the top prize
Wow. Wow.
for
That's
getting
kind of
first
insane.
in the faction feud.
That is insane. I don't remember those days. The only I remember Zombie Daniel Bryan was a faction prize, and I wasn't in a faction that got him, so I still don't have him, which is, another story for another day. But dang. So 1v1 though, the one thing that throws me off about this is, it's distinctly faction feud. And I mean, as long as there's still faction related requirements, and that kind of stuff in it, it'll feel that way. But it does kind of make it feel like a singles mode if I'm not feuding alongside somebody. I am feuding against other factions, and my faction is feuding against other factions. But I'm like, I don't know. There is something to that camaraderie, that communication, that whatever. I still think personally that Titan should have been a weekend mode, and maybe 1v1 should be like the midweek mode, or maybe a ongoing mode, or whatever. Like I really feel like the camaraderie that was built around that first week or so until everybody, well, at least till our faction, maxed all of the Titans to where now Titan is basically a one, a single player mode. It's not a faction mode anymore. If they had kept Titan as more of like the bigger boss battle, and then maybe moved 1v1 to something like that, I think that would have been a better direction. But I'm not in charge.
Yeah. Well, I told you, anything to get less showdowns, I would have gladly accepted Titan mode as a weekend thing and gotten one less showdown to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but hold on. Like, isn't 1v1 feud just showdown with more steps?
Kind of. I did. So I posed this question. I don't remember where or when, if it was on a stream or whatever, but I said that basic thing. Like, what is the difference now between showdown and 1v1 feud? And really it came down to like, well, it's not a tag team mode. Okay. So you're not utilizing that. So, but it does kind of
But it
feel
is
like
a
showdown.
But it is a tag team mode with more clicks. Like, all right, so the first guy you sent into the ring just got annihilated, right? And then you still have to defeat your opponent. So you go back to the menu, then you select your other wrestler that's in your stable, right? And then you go back into the ring against this other guy, and then you have to fight them again. So instead of pressing the tag button, you've pressed, back, skip, select a character, battle, and now you're into the battle again. I mean, it's a tag out function with like 10 more clicks and a minute worth of animations.
Right.
I am, for some reason, full disclosure, as soon as I saw the screenshot of the leak, my stomach sank, and I still cannot verbalize why I think that 1v1 feuds are going to be an absolute travesty.
Uh-oh.
But that is my gut opinion, is like something very wrong is going to happen here. Like, this is a monkey's paw situation. The entire community was like, nope, we hate 2v2 because we have to wait on our partners, and sometimes we get paired up with people who don't know how to feud, and blah 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 blah. All the traditional complaints about 2v2. I think Scopely said, oh, you want to get rid of 2v2 feuds? Fine, monkey paw curls. And now we're getting 1v1 with literally no information about it, no details, no nothing. So everybody is doing that thing where they're like, hey, something is changing. Change is exciting. Change is new. This is awesome, right? Like if a crossover event came out from a beloved video game franchise that you have hundreds of hours sank into, that you unreasonably hype yourself out of because you have no details, but you know something new and exciting is coming. And then you get the carpet swept out from under your feet. I'm not saying that this has actually happened. It's just, a scenario that popped into my head.
Right.
That's the feeling I got as soon as I saw the screenshot. I was like, uh-oh. oh, this isn't going to be cool, and I don't know why.
Hmm.
I think danger lurks around the corner,
Darkwing
and
Duck.
I am not excited about 1v1 feuds
Yeah.
at all.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I hate to
Well,
be
and
that guy. Have you ever noticed that it's
yeah.
like I'm the bad guy and Sheik's the good guy, and you're the moderator, Lee? Like I really feel like that's what the
Well,
direction of this podcast is going.
That's funny.
well, it's because I was always the bad guy when it was just me and Lee.
So he
Because
finally
I
got
was
a
like,
face
yeah,
turn.
people are like, yeah. So I will say this, and Zandal did bring it up. Obviously, I didn't want to interrupt you, Slim. The thing, I've brought this up many, many times. I'll bring this up a million times more. But just want to give credit where credit's due because Zandal brought it up as well. He said, now if it's such a big change, they should let us know today instead of tomorrow to give extra time to make adjustments. Here's the thing: we had a talent up, and the talent up's been going on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and it's tomorrow. It's like, well, it's like the announcement's tomorrow. Like, why not tell people, hey, this is how 1v1's going to go, so that way you could plan your talent up accordingly. Because, not everybody has, 30 billion coin and, 14 million TP in the bank to be able to make adjustments accordingly.
Right.
And, I've been busy. I haven't done my TU yet. But, like, at this point right now, like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Do I just go like normal, or is there going to be something, where, it's like you get more points for this versus that, and it's like, and then at that point, I'm like, okay, well, I took somebody up to 6 SG for no reason when I could have done this for, for whatever, it's just like it boils down to communication, communication, communication.
Right.
There, the thing is that like when stuff like this happens, I'm trying to pick my words here, but like kind of like a certain beloved fighting game franchise where you get told that, hey, it's going to be exciting this and exciting that, and then it gets released, it's completely different than what you thought. A 2-week event with a showdown with a prize wall that's so horribly bad that a certain other creator, I'm sure, agrees with me on this. I just, it's just one of those things that, like, it's like why not tell people, like, it's like, just why not mention this? It's kind of like, remember during the Nation of Domination event, like, there were so many of my faction members who said that, Kama's not that great, Delo's like, Delo's great, but I'm not really gonna try. Like, it's like, this is gonna be like an off month for me. And then in the middle of it, hey, we're introducing reversals, and they're like, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap, gotta catch up, gotta catch up, gotta catch up.
Right.
Like, if they just said at the beginning of the month, hey, we have this new mode that's coming out, it's called reversals, here how it's gonna work, and then people can just plan accordingly.
Yeah. You think maybe there's a benefit on their end by not saying it, because then we end up spending more resources, and then we end up like, it creates that sudden like adrenaline rush, which, let's be honest, good or bad, that adrenaline rush does keep you going, oh, okay, now I'm back into this, or now, I don't know. I don't know. But
Yeah.
I just hold to the fact that weekends should be more faction focused. Weekdays, maybe more solo mode focused or whatever. I like that. Yes, from Disip, it creates that FOMO, which is a gotcha games friend. And like I say, it's been a little while since I mentioned it, but I did a little experiment where I played another gotcha game for like a month and a half, and I'll tell you, there was literally nothing shared communication wise in that game, and it has, I think it brags like 10 million players or something like that in it. So it's well bigger than Champions. And it was like, this mode is out right now. Here's, a little bit of information, but there was nothing. Like, I didn't know how to get Loot Boxer. I had to Google it. I had to go on, but it did create like oh gosh, there's something. I gotta go. Like it created that thing that made you want to spend, made you want to play, made you want to whatever. I think really the reality is, and this is going to play into our next conversation pretty well here. The reality is when we don't get told something and it's a good surprise, we all go, "Oh, that was so wonderful," and we look back on it and it's the best times, etc. When we don't get told something and it's a bad surprise, we go, "Oh, they should have just done this differently. I hated this, blah blah blah." But when it is something like, "Hey, we're surprising you with Grant Camping loot coins. Go!" This is amazing. It's really only the negative experiences that we end up remembering from that side of things. Daniel said, but the track record is bad surprise.
But the thing is that but you got to remember, I specifically always make a point to say, hey, here's what I liked, here's what I didn't like.
Right.
Because, it's I want to make, it's there are a lot of people out there who just focus completely on the negative side of things. And, I want to call out the good where it deserves to be called out.
Right.
But the thing is, most it's we might have a lot of just say the negative experience is because they're hey, here's this fun and exciting mode or this amazing change that's going to happen, and then zero communication about it, and then you do things it's you do things this way, and then it turns out oh, hey, it's completely different. And then I think that's where if I were to tell you that's where my frustration or or anything or negative experience comes from, it's that. Because look, obviously Champions isn't going to come out and be hey, it's we're going to release this average to above average experience for our players. It's always hey, it's the most it's it's this, it's that, it's exciting, it's blah 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 blah. But to say that it's a major change and blah 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 blah, and we're gonna do this and this, and then it's an underwhelming experience. That's where I get like I said, that's kind of where I get upset. And I mean, I talked about this back when hey, we're redoing the Showdown prize wall, and I was fantastic.
Yes, and it's horrible.
Yeah, and I mean, and the thing that I bring up is that they redid it because I at that point I was just ugh, I have everybody in the prize wall. They should be changing this every 3 months, 6 months, yearly, whatever it is. I was we've had the same prize wall for 2 years. There's literally nothing on here I can get. Fantastic, let's do it. And then they release it, and I'm okay, great. This would have been a great prize wall 2 years. It's the prize wall that they should have released 2 years ago is the one that's now. And I know I keep talking about this, but 300 TP, that's fantastic. I would have to get, I'd have to do it for 4 days to move up one move at 6-star bronze.
Right.
And like I said, that's what it is for me is hyping something up and then under delivering. I think they should always over deliver on on a major announcement like that.
Yeah. Yep. Well, speaking of, let's keep that balance of the positive and the challenging or constructive in the mix. But yeah. I think we're far enough into the Tekken event that we. Oh, I'm sorry. I meant to say. Oh, they announced a crossover. We don't know what it is. Oh wait, no, the Tekken event. That we can kind of speak somewhat conclusively. I would guess, and this is absolute speculation, no insider information whatsoever. I would guess there'll be some sort of finale loot. Maybe today, but probably tomorrow, because the event ends on Friday at reset. I would guess that. But I've now done 3 prize wall videos. The initial look at the prize walls and loot that first came out. Then kind of now we're going to have this weekend prize wall, and kind of it was late in the game, so it was like a review basically of what the prize wall was. and basically encouraging people to get to save and check out the Doria medallions. Then we had the Doria prize wall, and I think a lot of us forgot or forget that the 2 week structure of these, the last week is usually faction spend. I mean, that's the way TMNT
Mhm.
was, all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. So not a surprise there. But now we've had the event, we have Armor King, we have the prize walls, and one of them's now gone, but it was garbage anyway. So I think
Mhm.
we can speak into like what's our thoughts on this Tekken event? What went well? What crapped the bed?
So the Free the Armor King with its entourage, fantastic.
Yes.
Totally 10 out of 10. Like I said, they inadvertently made, like, I know we joked around about this last week. They inadvertently made the that gold loot, worthless at this point. But
Made which loot?
you know, the whatever one the NWO Perfect is in.
Manager's pass loot.
Oh, yeah, the manager's pass. Yes,
Yeah,
yes. I
yeah,
still don't have NWO Perfect, and I have that pass. So
yeah. I was gonna
I have
say
that.
inadvertently they ruined that one, but uh, you know, uh, outside of that, like I said, that's the big positive that I'm going to take away from this is that getting Armor King with that entourage was phenomenal.
yeah, I agree. I would say my positive, since you've taken that one already, is I actually don't disagree with making Jin and Kazuya gear. I was looking back and I did a video like 7 characters that we wish we could get, but now we can't. And half of them were TMNT characters that people made on the comments. Like, I never got Raphael, I never got this. And now I'm missing that huge thing. But, Slim and I kind of talked on another one and just was basically like, maybe they were right to make the FOMO there, though. Because I would say I'm not blown away. I'm not excited by either gear. I am like, if I don't get Rey Mysterio's gear, which is very, very like hugely likely, I will not get Rey Mysterio's gear. I basically will never use him outside of. I'll take him up as high as I have to do the victory tour and whatever else comes this month. That's it. The other thing I will say is on the Doria, for those who took the 400 medallions or close to it, I've seen a lot of people who got OTC. A lot of people who claimed him out of that. Not saying everybody, but I would consider that a huge, huge get for any roster. So, Slim, you've had the most time to simmer and stew on this. I know you've got thoughts. You can take your villain turn whenever you'd like to now.
Um, um, Armor King is going to. So I was talking with a couple of community members. I'm actually really excited about Armor King and just have not had the time yet to deep dive the roster and find cards that are now viable that were previously unviable unless you had NWO Perfect.
Yep.
I guarantee you there's movesets out there for cards that actually now become usable. And I'm not saying like, oh, that's cute. Look at this Tech Jake the Snake hitting for 30 million turn 2
Right.
type stuff. It is actually going to have some actual real world benefit in a competitive, at least mid tier or mid stage level of the game. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
We've got one right off. Just to add it though, real quick. OTC's highest damage build is now viable with a midline bonus. It was not before.
Yes.
So
That's one of actually Blueski is one of the guys I was talking to about this.
yeah. Blue Skis. Well, yeah, there you go. Always give him credit because he
um,
came to me with that too. So
yeah, Blueski's clutch. But like, heavy metal Rhea, if you have Mellow, instantly gets an upgrade because now her multiplies are +2. Armor King's fantastic.
yes.
Armor King's also the only Tekken character you can play as. So if you want to have that little taste of Tekken, you now have Armor King. And if you want to get real nitpicky, King and Armor King do share some moves in game, so it's not going to look totally weird for Armor King's move set to be coming from King if you get the King gear. So that's going to be cool. That works just fine. It's not going to be as jarring as Kazuya hitting a 619. So there's that. That's great. 100%. OTC, man, people are going to really roast me on this one.
Uh-oh.
OTC being a get is a fantastic get for a lot of people. I'm not disagreeing. OTC is a fantastic character. He hits extremely hard. You don't need a lot of stuff. I'm not arguing any of that point. The 3-week hype up to a crossover event. This has had more hype from Scopely than any other crossover event I can remember. The main get that people are going to remember is a 1-year-old card. That's tough for me to kind of like put together in my head. Like, oh, we had the Tekken event. I got Roman Reigns' original tribal chief. Really? You didn't get a Tekken character? You're not stoked about the Tekken gear? You're not stoked about the Tekken plates? You didn't get to enjoy the Tekken boss battle? What about the Tekken showdown? What about the Tekken blah, blah, blah? What about the Tekken belts? What about the Tekken straps? What about the Tekken medals? No, it's OTC, something that's been around for a year. Oh my goodness. Like,
Yeah. So
it's a fantastic get. I'm not saying it's not. And I want everybody who got OTC from the Tekken prize wall with all the other Tekken stuff and you chose a year-old card, you probably made the right decision. I'm not saying that you're wrong, and I'm not saying that you're going to regret the decision. I'm saying that the design of the entire crossover being like, I got a 1-year-old card for just playing the game that has nothing to do with the event whatsoever is absolutely insane to me. So, yeah, enjoy your OTCs from the Tekken event.
yeah. I totally agree with you. Actually, I wanted to share something funny. So of course, I have my infamous taste testing gift cards. So I was just like, you know what the heck? I'll go ahead and buy a $20 pack with my gift card money, right? Guess who I pulled right before the Doria prize wall?
OTC?
OTC, and I was like, wow, 6-star gold too.
Wow.
And I was like, oh,
solid pull.
fantastic.
Solid pull.
Yeah, and then when the Doria prize wall came out and everybody was excited about getting OTC, I was just like, well, I guess I'm getting Coco Beware.
Coco is great too. I like Coco.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, because I was laughing about it. I know everybody has their different, takes on on a prize wall. Should you go after shards versus gear versus plates versus blah blah blah? Me personally, I always tell people like, look, I always go for a character unlock for unless it's something that's like so unbelievably rare or good that for example, if somebody was like, oh, I can either get Showboat Solo Sokoa or I could get a Piper plate. If you chose Solo, I'd question what you do, but when I was taking a look at it, I was like okay, Viscera would have been great, but I unlocked Viscera with shards recently. I was like, who else? I forget who all else is on there. I pulled OTC and then some of the other, like I said, some of the other ones, and I was just like, well, it's like this is what I would have picked had I not for shards in this, on this prize wall. This is the one I would have gone to if I hadn't had shards from this prize wall. So it's kind of like I'll admit, like I was a little salty because I was like, I would have been so much more excited about this had I not literally just got this character 2 weeks ago.
I mean, that's a
along
good
those
flex, though.
Also, there's something that I would like to add. The showdown event, it's like we're going to talk about negatives just for the moment, and I'm sure Slim's going to agree with me on this one.
Oh, call your shot.
Okay. How could they not call this showdown the Tekken Tag Tournament?
Oh, what a brilliant idea. Yeah, why didn't they do that? That makes too much sense.
Jeez. All right, we've only got less than 10 minutes left. We talked to prize walls. We've talked a little bit about the event. Probably not as much as we could have. There's always another week. But with the prize walls themselves, I'm gonna share where I'm at. I'm curious where you guys are at with it. So, on the initial prize wall for Tekken, I now have enough where I can choose either Dom's gear or the Rage Plate, and that's probably about where I'll land. I don't think I'll get enough to get both. It'd be great if I do, but I'll end up with Dom's gear more than likely there. On the other one, I took the Doria medallions. That's all I got off that prize wall. It was horrible, like one of the worst weekend prize walls I think I've ever seen. And then this one, the Doria, my faction is currently 9th in spend, which is interesting because I haven't done a mega yet. But if I do a mega, I'm guaranteed
Lee, your faction needs you.
my faction needs. I'm gonna wait till Thursday. If I do a mega,
I'm just saying they
though,
need you.
they do need me. No, actually, we've got a few people who are helping out. Thank you. No, Zandel, I did not buy the half off prize wall, and I probably won't based on what I'm about to say because I'm going to spend maybe about $100 on this event, and I'm guarantee myself because there's 100 Doria medallions in a $99 offer. And then that will get me on the spend thing on the bonus rewards, another 100 medallions. So I will get exactly 200 medallions for $100 spend, plus I'll get 60 loot coins. If I get Armor King's gear out of the loot coins, then phenomenal, life changes things. But realistically, with all my faction has spent, me spending, because I spent 20 on one thing and I spent 15 on another, so I spent 35 so far. So $135, I will probably walk away with Armor King's gear, and that is it. I mean, I'll be lucky to get there because I'm at 798 right now, so I need 201 medallions to get his gear. So that's where I'm at. That's what I'm going to walk away with unless something magically pops and I get a bag. If I do, I will choose Kazuya's gear over Armor King's, even though I think I'll use Armor King more. Ray just needs it. So I may end up with 2 gear, and I'll have spent about $150 total. Is that worth it? I don't know. What about you guys?
All right, so I pulled up my prize wall. So I already talked about it from the garbage prize wall. I just traded them all for Doria coins,
Right.
and then I grabbed like a token pack and strap. I always need metal bits. I have strap parts for days. I just always need metal bits. So I like grab whatever it was, and then I think the last 200 I took the coins just to zero out the prize wall. So on the week 1 prize wall, whatever it is, I have 14,856. So I could get the Jin gear. Also, I didn't do the half off prize wall. I never do it. So
Yeah.
So maybe I'll get Dork Junior's gear. I really wanted one of the Rumble plates, but that's realistically not going to happen. And then just going through this real quick because I know we're on a limited time. The Rainbow Transfusion plate, I already have one. The other plates, I don't really need them. I don't have them, but they're also not like, oh my god, I got to get them. Most of the moments that I have, and then unfortunately with like JBL and so JBL is the only one I don't have, and I am currently at 4,110, so I wouldn't be able to recruit him anyway, even if I were to take that. So that's where I am with that. So I'm probably going to get Dork Junior's gear and call it a day for that one. And then on the Doria prize wall, my faction is at 24 or 24th, and then I currently have 830. So at that point, I'm kind of just like I'm debating, just depending on how things go. Obviously, do I go for Coco Beware? I don't have Kamala, but I'd rather get Coco than Kamala. I pulled OTC, I have Isra, I have Bray, I have Solo, and then I don't, the rest of the stuff is just not worth it to me. And then as far as the plates go, there's nothing that, really jumps out at me other than the Rumble plates and then the Ring Royalty plate. Of course, the 2 new ones. But I'd rather have a new character than a plate personally.
Yeah.
So that's where I am right now. If it depends, like I said, Depending on where it goes, I'm going to go Coco over King Gear or Kazuya Gear.
Slim, where are you at? What are you thinking?
So I think I've mentioned a couple times I was super hype about the event. So day one, I made decisions.
Okay.
Day one, I made decisions before I even opened up the game. Um, I was ready. So I'll end up getting Gen Gear. I could get a Rage Plate in addition to that, or I should have enough to kind of take my pick of what else on the prize wall other than Rhea Ripley, who I already have, so there's no loss there. So it's going to take a little bit of studying to figure out if there's anything here that I even like really want. It's probably just going to be Gen Gear, Rage Plate, and Econ, most likely. I didn't get anything off the boss battle prize wall except Haku shards and the trade in, and then from an armory milestone, I got Haku's 6-star gold anyway. So like, woo!
Jeez.
All right, yeah, that was a nuts milestone pull. And so on the Doria prize wall, I think it's King Gear. I've got 1,002. I am unlikely to get any more. Highly unlikely to get any more. Electric Wing God Fist Plate is not good. Period. Kazuya Gear is
gear.
on Ray if you have gear. Yeah, I mean that is way. Meh. I don't have Kazuya Gear either, and I'm probably unlikely to get that. So I think it's just going to be King Gear, and then I'll have 3 of the tokens left over, so they'll sit in my inventory and remind me forever of the Doria prize wall because I won't be able to spend them.
That's right.
That's my plan. Just let that stuff sit in inventory for a while.
Yeah.
All in all, so I'm sitting talking about being able to grab most of the stuff off the prize walls that I want to get, and I'm still completely whelmed with everything. Not overwhelmed, not underwhelmed. I am just perfectly whelmed.
I could see that. Yeah, whelmed is a good way to put it. I'm thinking about long term. What am I going to walk away from? Will I use Armor King with gear? Yeah, if I have his gear, I think he's well worth using. If I don't get his gear, I think he's a trainer. I think that's about it. Dom, I think Dom was phenomenal before the gear. I don't know that I like or prefer, I should say. I do like it. I don't know if I prefer the moveset that really leans into the gear, but the fact that it'll be there, that's great. Honestly, probably the thing, and this is what I'm weighing out if I have to choose between Dom's gear and the Rage Plate, the thing that I would probably use the most for the longest time is the Rage Plate on Showboat Sami Zayn. I think that is he's one of my top guys. That's going to buff him by 200 additional % on his gems. And I think that's it. I literally think that's probably, maybe it's 100%. I think it's 50% per turn. But either way, that's literally about it. So I don't know, the turtles I still use as fighters every once in a while, and I certainly use their trainer abilities all the stinking time. So I see the turtles, I think about the turtles event more than probably any other crossover they've done. The Tekken event, I don't know that I will. I think it's... And unfortunately, as you guys called it out on me from the last podcast, I was absolutely wrong. I said, oh, well, they announced a 2-week for week 4 and 5. No, they just moved the 2-week around. In fact, the entire month's calendar is off, from what they announced initially, which means this is our 2-week event, which means next Thursday, next Friday, we have the Black Friday event, the theoretically gobbledygooker event to look forward to, and then it's Christmas. So any final thoughts? I gotta go. So Slim, give your final thoughts. Sheik, final thoughts, and then close us out.
They're going to save the entire event this Friday because the weekend chase thing is going to be a Heihachi Mishima skin for OTC Roman Reigns.
There you go.
Book it, Dano.
Book it, Dano. That'd be amazing. Sheik?
Yeah. I think they're going to save the entire weekend by having an Akuma skin since he is in Tekken now. That way you get the,
Akuma's in Tekken.
Save the Namco Bandai event.
What? Oh.
But yeah, um,
Sorry, that one caught me off guard. That's hilarious.
Oh, Sheik, close
but
us
yeah, I
out.
mean, yeah, okay, that's all good. But yeah, sorry, but the real quick thing is just, I think that, like I said, I think we're gonna step away from this event just saying that it was okay, rather than, the build up of the hype was here. I think with the expectations, everything, and then just we're not gonna say that it was bad. We're not gonna say it was fantastic. We're just gonna be like, yeah, it was all right.
It certainly was an event.
Okay, yeah, but that being said, because we all have places to be, people to talk to. All right, so don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and follow Champions Chat, Slim Numbers, and me, Iron Sheik 84, on Twitch, on YouTube, and all the great places that you want to get more WWE Champions action. And with that, as always, I wish you all have a wonderful, blessed day. Have a great Faction Feud weekend. Let's see how it ends up going. And yeah, just be good to each other and have a good one, everybody.